nobody's buying direct to consumer products because it's an urgent need right this moment. Like there's very few products in the direct to consumer space that fall into that line. Most of them are either everyday consumables, which have nothing to do with Black Friday, which is a majority of direct to consumer stuff like supplements and different things, or you have very nice things like apparel and different things in this, which is a majority. If we look at InBooks, which has been interesting, is that we pulled from the top Shopify brands, and a lot of them are apparel, specifically women's apparel, which are doing the most revenue on that platform. Which, let's be honest, I know you know your wife wants that dress, but she can wait 2 weeks, and that's it, right? All right, what's up, Chase? What's going on, dude?
Hey, man, how are you? Things have been busy, huh?
Yeah, no, it's good, man. It's a lot of things going on right now with the launch and just getting prepared for next year. I think it's an exciting time always.
Yeah, I'm pumped. What are we talking about today? Something about
So,
BFCM that
yeah, dude,
wrapped?
it's the third. As we're recording this will go out the following week on the next Tuesday, so it's pretty fresh. And I wanted to talk about BFCM, man. Like, I think that it was an interesting time, and I think there's a lot of talk about. So let's talk about that. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right, in 3, 2, 1.
From the open to the click, they're the masters of the flow. Just watch your list grow and your leads turn to go. Did we retain you so far, or do we have to extend it? If you want results, you know you gotta send it. Yeah, you know you gotta send it. Yeah, you know you gotta send it. Yeah, you know you gotta send it.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Send It, where we talk about everything and anything retention marketing, specifically in email and SMS marketing and e-commerce. My name is Jimmy Kim, and I'm here with my co-host,
Chase Dimond.
All right, Chase, dude. Like I said, before we started this pod here today, I want to talk about BFCM because it just happened. So I want to just have a discussion about things and some of the things. And, you know, our friends over at Omnisend, who are an amazing partner, they just renewed with us for the next year. So I'm very excited to have them here. So big thanks to them. They sent us some data, some reports, little blog posts, as well as us just kind of going on research, talking to our brands, checking our clients, like a little bit of everything. And I think I want to talk about like what we saw on our side as someone who kind of reports about this stuff and looks at all that good stuff. So let's just start at the top side of things, Chase. So, you know, I posted about this on LinkedIn, but I want to talk about this thing that I thought was really interesting. You know how we've all been like talking about like BFCM starts in October now. Everyone's starting to do things in November. Amazon Days back in Amazon and all this fun stuff. But here's the reality and what I kind of saw, which I think was interesting. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this around the consumer behavior. But most of the sales still occurred on Black Friday. I mean, it was a big day on Black Friday. In fact, it wasn't just a big day on Black Friday. A lot of brands are reporting that even on Cyber Monday, which was historically like the internet day or the day people bought, was actually a bigger day for them than even Black Friday. And if you look at Shopify's report, I mean, they did $6.2 billion of global sales on Black Friday. And this is just Shopify. I think it was about 11.5 billion total of GMV over the entire market. And over the total time of Friday through Monday, Shopify reported $14.6 billion in revenue. So what are your thoughts, man? The fact that people are waiting, even though every brand started sales earlier, it doesn't seem like it actually stole any sales forward. And the people who intended to purchase still waited. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess like I'm wondering and thinking, like, does it make sense to start marketing the sale earlier? And maybe it doesn't. Maybe the right move in hindsight is maybe that's when you build the wait list, right? Maybe that's when you hype things, get people excited, talking about what's to come. And that's when you build the wait list. Like we just did a wait list for our InBooks launch not too long ago. And when you look at the data of like that small of a list, let's call it like 700 people versus the public, it's always crazy how much engagement and revenue comes from a wait list. So that's kind of my initial thought. What do you think?
Yeah, same thought process I actually had. Like, I feel like in November, if I'm a brand in November, and maybe people are using pop-ups still today to announce their sale and do things, but like, I think one of the most underutilized things that are happening in the market is people aren't thinking about pop-ups in different flexible ways. For example, like to your point about a wait list, imagine if a client or a brand, right? Your favorite brand, I think it's Built, for example. Imagine if you went to their site to check out what's going on in their clothes, kind of anticipating the sale, but not really sure if this is the right sale, if this is the best deal that they're going to get. And instead of a pop-up for, hey, purchase now, get 20% off, first time purchase, typical stuff you get, right? What if the pop-up said, Are you here for the Black Friday sale? Opt in here and get alerted one day early. Just exclusivity or giving them a reason. And we've all learned this as marketers. And so I'm with you on it. And I think that there's a trust factor here too. I don't think people believe that you are giving the best sale early. Like,
Yeah.
because they're wondering, what are you going to do for Black Friday if you're giving me the sale today?
Yeah, I like that. And actually, we're talking about that. One other thing I was thinking about, I don't know if people do this or not, but like, if you're marketing early, almost allow people to build like their Black Friday, Cyber Monday wish list or their cart and almost be able to like price monitor, right?
Yeah.
Like, show the proof is in the pudding, right? Show that this is the best deal. Allow them to enter a wait list, allow them to start kind of adding the items there. Sure, if they want to buy it now, they can, but this way it's like, hey, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, send me what I've added to my wish list, remind me type of a thing.
That
That'd
would
be
be
kind of cool,
cool.
right?
Yeah,
Maybe
that'd be a
make it a
cool
little
little
bit.
tool. Yeah, I never thought
Yeah, that'd
about
be
that.
cool.
Maybe Black Friday should be a wish list time where brands, I'm sure there's products that help you build wish lists. I have no idea about those. That's actually a really interesting question and thought process. But yeah, a wait list, a wish list, like adding, instead of just shopping and adding to cart, but adding it to a wish list and logging people in so that you can at least capture their emails. And to your point, if you're really having a sale out there and you had a product at $20, let's just say, I'm just using an easy number, and on the wait list they saved it at $20 and it was whatever, and they saw that, and then right as sale happened, if it became $15, suddenly that's a emailable moment or a messaging moment there as well
Yes.
too. And
Yeah, there's a lot of cool
the
stuff.
second thing about Black Friday that I think is really interesting, Chase, is that Black Friday has always been in my humble opinion, a funnel clearing event, not a lead and prospecting event. Because what you're
Yep.
doing is you're taking all the people, the loyal customers, you're taking all the people who've been kind of waiting on the sidelines and haven't made a purchase, and you're trying to get them to activate it and either make that first sale or a repeat sale. And I think a lot of people continue to forget the importance of that more than the high level top of the funnel. And I think top of the funnel is important. I think people get into the hype of the sale and all that stuff. But I feel like as a loyal customer of many D2C brands that I purchased, I actually didn't get much. I don't know about you. Did you get emails as a loyalty side of things, or did you just get blanket emails that everybody got ultimately?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One is I actually didn't buy a single thing during BFCM. I felt like I was so overwhelmed that
Mm,
like I kind of had a little bit of like analysis paralysis. Number two, I started using like some email responder type thing, and I don't know if it was my filtering, but I almost saw next to nothing. Like I only saw a very few amount of emails actually get through into like my primary inbox, which is like where I typically look. Like I didn't go searching for things actually as much as typical in the promotions or other tabs, right? So I don't know if it was just like the fact that this thing was filtering really, really well to keep things out of my primary to keep it less noisy, or what the heck happened. But I felt like I didn't get
mm.
that many emails, and the emails I got like weren't that great, unfortunately.
Oh man, I had a total different experience. I got emailed more than I could even look at. I felt like I was I mean, I wasn't opening most of my emails because it was just like overwhelming. And it's obviously very clear they're having a sale. And there were like brands that I haven't heard from in so long, Chase, starting to message me on Black Friday. It happens every year, of course, but this one kept messaging me. I'm not going to name him out because I'm not trying to embarrass anybody, but this one started messaging me on text first. And I was like, what the heck is this name? I've never even heard this name, but I'm a marketer and I opt into a lot of stuff. So I'm forgiving, right? Then I started seeing the emails come from this brand. So I finally opened it up. Dude, so I have one of those water alkaline machines. It was the
Okay.
filter company.
Huh.
Like the filters, the screw-ins that they have, the chocolate canisters that you have. So I have one of those machines, and they sent me a Black Friday, and they were texting me, they were sending me emails about their sale they were having with 10% off. And I was like, was this really worth it? And does this really the thing that you buy? This isn't even a gift giving. Like I would never buy this to my wife as a gift. This is how you get divorced, I'm pretty sure.
And would you actually need one of those again?
I don't even know, to be honest. I have no idea. I have no education on it. I just know that I have a filter thing. And I assume it's going to tell me what I need to change it. I don't know.
Hmm.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't.
weird.
Honestly, I think my wife monitors it and she tells me when to order it. And I think I ordered it at one point.
Got it. It was through your name and your email, but you actually weren't the person.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hey, you guys want to stay connected with us? Guess what? we send a daily retention newsletter out that you should join right now. If you're not a part of it, it's at ecomemailmarketer.com. It's completely free. We send it to your inbox daily. We do breakdowns. We talk about the latest things. We talk about the latest tools out there. There's so much you can do. Plus, we even talk about the pod, of course. So if you're enjoying the pod, you want to be here, you want to listen to us, you want more email and SMS retention marketing tips, tactics, tools, tricks, whatever it might be, head over to ecomemailmarketer.com. We probably have something free that we're giving away right now too on top of that. So go get that, download it, join our newsletter. We'll see you there. Yeah, so I saw a lot of that happening. I definitely got a lot of emails from some brands, and I get it, dude. My inbox was absolutely flooded. I was looking on inbooks.ai too and just checking out what's coming in and through the pipeline, and like the messaging was just consistent, right? And like people were sending more and more and more. And then I think we were layered on with like different things. But before we get into even some of that, I kind of want to talk about the sales, because I think there's a problem, and this is the problem that I'm seeing in this market right now. I think we're dead with creativity of sale. Like, I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Dude, by the way, I found all the emails from Black Friday right now. This thing that I'm using to filter literally invented a new tab called marketing, and there's 3,000 emails in there from the last
what are you
10
using?
days.
What's your application you use for email?
It was this thing called like, I don't even know how to say it, FYXER, Fixer. It was like some inbox responding filtering thing. They basically somehow are now filtering this. So, dude, in my primary email, and this, mind you, this email has 165,000 emails. I only have gotten 20 emails today in my primary inbox, where I'm normally used to getting like hundreds. So I think that's what happened. Like, I was seeing stuff come through, and I was overwhelmed with what was coming through, but I didn't even see a fraction of it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
That's crazy.
So that's an interesting barrier that I don't think even people think about when they're thinking about these
No,
things.
and I didn't even realize that till right now. Interesting. So you were talking about like the sales though? Is that
Yeah,
kind of like
dude. The
what
sales were just blah. Like, I don't know what you saw, but like that's how I felt. Like nobody was creative.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of the things that I did see as I went back in and kind of was checking on it was like the same sale that they're already running, but like maybe 5 or 10% more. Like if they did 20% off year round, it's like they maybe gave me 25 or 30% off, or it didn't feel like it was enough to like make the immediate purchase today, because I didn't feel like I was saving that much.
No, there was no urgency feeling. It was no limited time feel. There was no bubble feel. I mean, look, this is how I boil it down to. Like what sells during this time of the year is like gifting stuff, apparel, supplements, like, technology. So on the supplement side, I felt like everybody was pitching me the same thing that I've been buying before. So like, oh, you buy 4, you get 2 free, or like, your auto subscription gets you 25% off your first order. Like nothing special. And that's how I felt like with that one, right? But they hyped the crap out of it. Then the clothing was kind of separated, right? Like the way I looked at clothing was interesting. Like the higher end brand stuff that I like was like 10, 20% off, nothing major. The mid end stuff, I felt like a lot of people were running like clearance sales on certain products. I thought that was really interesting, because that's how like more of a retail strategy of like doorbusters and doing that. And then the low end was giving like ridiculous sales out, bro, like 50%, 60% sales and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting. And then we flipped over to tech. And tech, which is where I'm very interested in, there literally was nothing good, man. So I have an iPhone 14, right? And honestly, it's great. Like there's nothing wrong with it. But I was like looking at the iPhone 17, and I was like, okay, if Apple drops something really, really cool on Black Friday, or like AT&T or someone, maybe I'll go buy something. So I waited, and I did get an email from them. It's 5% off for Apple.
That's so insulting.
That it almost felt insulting. Like, why even put me on sale? Like, don't even put it on sale at that point. Just let me have it for retail. And I might have been there, but at 5%, I actually felt a little bit more insulted. But like overall, the theme I would say today is that Black Friday has gotten worse each year, because the creativity is gone. There was no bundling packages. There were no like gifting. Like it didn't feel like the effort was put into the place, at least to the brands that I followed. Like no one came out with holiday packs or something fun. I don't care what it is, man. Just some kind of hero thing.
Yeah, it felt like people were just busy, and they were just kind of doing the bare minimum to get by, right? I think in the case of like an Apple, maybe Apple is not the best example, but if a company was going to only do 5 or 10%, don't do it. Do something that's like
a free gift,
plus
man.
iPhone, right? Yeah, give you something that has high perceived value. Maybe it only equates to 5% of what it costs, but then the psychology would have been like,
you're right.
Right?
Okay,
like,
look, let's figure this out, right? So an Apple iPhone is like what, $1,200, right?
Okay.
5% off $1,200 is what? 60, $70, right? Like not much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, 60
Dude,
bucks exactly.
you could have given me, if you would have said an iPhone with a free Apple case with a free charging cord and plug, or whatever. What is that? Case is what, $40? Charging course is $20, $25, right? So literally the same dollars. If
Yeah.
you would have bundled that for me, I would have thought that was a special deal.
Yeah. Dude, what if even like a limited edition like Apple hat or something for the,
Doesn't even
you
matter.
know, like, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, here's our limited edition Apple 17 hat, right? Get this for free. Like, I see a bunch of people that don't own Ferraris wearing Ferrari hats because someone gave it to them, or maybe they bought something else, right?
No, yeah,
And that's marketing, right? Like,
it
people,
is.
everyone knows Apple, right? But people walking around with this Apple hat, posting about it, I think people would have been excited about getting something for free.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's kind of how I felt about it. I thought it was really interesting. And, you know, when we went into the brand level, and, for us, we're very fortunate to have someone like Omnisend on our side who can like give us data. But, we asked them for some data, and they shared this little blog post, and we were talking to the team over there. And long story short, here are some of the kind of interesting data points they talked about in this report. And we'll link that report in the show note description so you can kind of grab it. But Black Friday orders were up 36% for them. So over year, which is quite interesting because, Harley,
Crazy.
I was looking at his note about this thing, and they were posting it on X as they were talking about it. And we'll talk about their like downtime and all that stuff, even though it's not really important and relevant to here. I think it's important to talk about just because I think it's a question of what you can do and like think about. So we'll talk about that in a second. But basically they were saying that, I think, what was it I'm looking for right now? I think Shopify was up like, I want to say like 24-25% as their own product as well too. So basically,
Wow.
Omnisend saw that similar number ultimately, right? 27%. That's what they saw year over year from last year to this year. And Omnisend is saying that they saw 36% of their customers. So that's interesting. The second point of data that was
real
really
quick on that
interesting.
note, it's so interesting because maybe part of like what we're talking about, like offers weren't great, they were boring, this, that,
Yeah.
and the other, they didn't stand out. Maybe we're just analyzing it as marketers. Like, we know we would have done better, and maybe we could have taken that 36% across the board on average and done better. Who knows? But I wonder if like consumers are just like, they're just so conditioned psychologically to buy because this is when they save their money for, right? Like, I think people were just waiting. They're holding on to their money and they were just buying everything in that week because that's what you do, right? It's like that whole scary line. That's just the way we've always done it. I think
Consumer
that's like the
habits, man.
psychology in play.
Yeah,
Yes.
habits.
Yes.
But it's even more interesting, right? So if you look at the scale of like e-commerce, right? And you go into like a full e-commerce spectrum, they say that 38% of e-commerce is owned by Amazon, which makes sense. 7 or 9% by Walmart, for example. And Shopify brands as a total only represent about 7% of e-commerce. However, if you look at what they're reporting out, 11.8 billion top line and 6.4 billion by Shopify. Shopify merchants basically did half of Black Friday sales, where in a typical e-commerce case, they're doing 7%. So you look at that and realize the consumers are potentially looking to spend there. Or this is the other thought process I had. Did Amazon Prime Day destroy Black Friday?
Maybe, because that was early to mid-October, right?
October,
Prime
yeah.
Big Day deals. October.
Yeah, I think it was like
Yeah,
mid-October.
Prime Big Day deals. Yeah, that's so strategic. So they probably were the ones that launched early and got it. Yeah, October 7th and 8th is when it happened. I wonder what that revenue was there.
Yeah,
Do you
I
have
have
that
no
by any
idea.
chance?
I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
Oh, it says, again, this is just a quick Google search. It says that analysts estimated that it was going to be probably about 3.75 billion in sales attributed to those 2 days.
Okay. So actually not that much. So really what you're finding is, okay, when you think about Amazon, it's the place where you go for like generic stuff. Like, I need a cord, I need a bulb, I need, this or that, or you're very specific. But maybe what happens during the holidays is because gifting is special, people don't want to buy from Amazon quite as much. That might be part of it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay.
Hey there, it's Chase here. I hope you're enjoying the pod, but I want to get just 30 seconds of your time real quick to tell you about one of our sponsors who let us make this great podcast. So first, I want to start with a question for you. Do you ever find yourself staring at a blank page, waiting for inspiration to strike? Your marketing campaigns don't have to suffer when your creativity runs dry. Omnisend has recently launched their most powerful AI update yet, and it is awesome. Its AI completely transforms how you can create and send your next marketing messages. And here's really what's incredible. Their AI doesn't just write your emails, but it actually helps you write really compelling subject lines, pre-header texts that are geared to increase your open rates, and ultimately build customer segments in a heartbeat. And just whisper to the AI who you're targeting, and it's going to figure out all the complex segmentation for you. So that way you have no more guessing games. But hey, wait, it gets better. Their AI writer actually now proactively suggests improvements to your copy, and it's going to adapt to your brand's unique voice and tone while following email marketing best practices. And their personalized product reminders analyzes your browsing behavior to serve up exactly what each of your customer wants and needs to see. And their campaign booster automatically resends emails to people who didn't open or engage with them, which helps lift revenue by an average of 13%. And now, with over 150,000 very happy customers already dominating their markets using Omnisend's email, SMS, and push notifications, plus they have 24/7 amazing support that actually responds fast and is very helpful, you're joining a winning team. So stop wrestling with writer's block and start letting AI do the heavy lifting for you. Visit omnisend.com and experience the future of marketing automation. Let them know that Jimmy and I sent you, and now back to the pod.
I have another stat here. I think this is another really interesting stat from Omnisend. So, and this is a good thing to learn about them, but they said their average order value rose from $164 to $215 at a 30% increase, which is really cool. However, again, I go back to the wide spectrum of what Shopify reported back out, and their average order values were like 104, 105. So Omnisend customers doubled their potential revenue per customer, which I thought was really interesting too. Any thoughts on that?
Wow, that's crazy. So up about 30%. I think
That's year over year as a company, but at a whole against what Shopify reported out, dude, it's huge.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think one, it kind of shows you what's happening kind of in the economy. I think customers are just consolidating purchases, right? I think instead of buying more often throughout the year, they're buying kind of fewer times, but they spend more during big events. I think they're being more strategic. Amazon Prime Day deals, big whatever it is, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I think because of all the uncertainty in the job markets, I don't know, dollars, high cost, inflation, tariffs, whatever. I think people are just waiting until the moments where that spending feels justified, and you have to spend now because Christmas is in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
You need to buy now, or you wait till the last minute and you miss out on inventory selling out, things being more expensive than they were today, etc.
You ever heard of the Mandela effect? You know what that is?
No.
So the Mandela effect is stuff like that you believe was like a certain way when you're growing up. And then you got older and you look back and you're like, wait a minute. And the most popular one is like the Fruit of the Loom, right? Does the Fruit of the Loom have the cornucopia? The answer that everyone says is yes, it does. But if you go into look at the stuff, they don't have a cornucopia, right? So that's called the Mandela effect. And we don't know what's going on. There's all a conspiracy talk and stuff around it. But why I'm getting into that thing is, didn't Black Fridays happen like this third Thursday of the month for a long time? Why was it at the end of the month? Did you realize that this was literally at the end of the year, end of the month, and it became December the next day?
Yeah, that's weird. Has Black Friday was
December 1st?
Interesting. Has it not always been tied to Thanksgiving?
No, it's always supposed to be the last Thursday of the month. And for some reason, I just feel like the last Thursday of the month for years, and I know it's just calendar, but it just feels weird that suddenly we're now doing it at the end. So there's actually a shorter time frame, just kind of talking about your time frame side of things.
Yeah, you're right. It feels like now, maybe it isn't, maybe it's the same, but it feels, I guess you're saying it's closer to Christmas, which then means that you need to get on. I mean, yeah, it's weird to think that we're in December and Christmas is around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another really interesting data point. Okay, so here's another really kind of crazy data point. Nearly 10% of Omnisend's brands generated half or more of their yearly order sales through Black Friday.
Crazy.
Dude,
And that's looking at the Black Friday, Cyber Monday week,
yeah.
or like the
I think it's
wow,
just looking at Black Friday week in general, it says.
wow, that's crazy.
So
So
they have
a
like
lot of these,
160,000 customers. So they're basically saying about 16,000 of their brands made 50% of their revenue for the entire year through this 1 week.
I think that's both. I think okay, so I think it's two things, but I think it's actually one thing. I think that's actually crazy. I think that just shows like there's a huge business model dependency, right? Like, do you think about like a bad offer or running out of inventory or not having inventory because something had happened, right? Like some kind of ad outage or God forbid some shipping mistake. Like your whole year can get derailed if you're dependent on that. Like, could you imagine half of your sales or more of your sales coming in a single week?
That's
Dude, I would
insane. That's
I would be so
pressure,
nervous.
man. That's a lot more pressure than I think people are even recognizing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And now,
And I
now
think the
let's
other,
talk technology. I mean, overall, I mean, we know that Omnisend had 100%. They were moving quickly and they were ready for it. But we
yeah, they
heard
crushed
some
it.
grumblings around the industry, and I'm not here to call people out, but we heard about a Cloudflare issue affecting a very popular SMS platform. So people were having issues on Friday sending, which was one of them I saw. Shopify themselves, which has been very public about it, but they ended up having some issues on Monday, which for Cyber Monday, it wasn't actually like a checkout problem. They were able to maintain checkout, but their admin or their backend was down, so people weren't able to track things. And I think it's kind of crazy that even the biggest guys will ultimately have problems. I mean, we heard about some of the ESPs having sending delivery delays in time. Some big brands have talked to me about this, and they were just like, "Hey, how do you deal with this?" And I'm like, "Man, this is like an archaic problem that's really hard to fix." And so I think technology held up pretty decently overall, but like every year, doesn't matter. It always seems like something breaks in technology, and I think you just have to be prepared for that as a brand.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully for Omnisend, the customers, the 10% of people that generated half their revenue that 7 days. Thankfully they were up. God forbid, right, that they absolutely crushed it. So that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I
One
mean,
more
so
interesting.
yeah. Go ahead.
I would say one more interesting thing on kind of that whole order thing. I think the report also mentioned something around the ballpark of like 30% or a third of the brands generated like their orders. Like I think basically some brands generate like a third of their orders for the year in that time. So it really does show you that like people really do need this time. So hopefully people keep spending, and I mean, hopefully brands start getting better about diversifying. But it's just crazy. I'm just like thinking through that part again. It's just
Yeah, I
insane.
mean, at my apparel brand, I would say that, yeah, I guess it did do a significant, I would say 20, 30% maybe of the annual revenue was being done, maybe 40%. So maybe not far off.
Crazy.
I
Okay,
mean, it
interesting.
kind of tells you where the consumer mentality is. And I think that's the point that I'm kind of learning from all of this is that consumer mentality is that A, the day is the day, and B, spending is going to do it. And you're going to pull some people out and accelerate some people. But it almost, to your point, seems like it would have been better. You remember, okay, let's go back and look at a retail playbook. Remember when
Okay.
back in the day, and we're going to age ourselves here. So you youngins that are listening, yeah, we're young, we're hip, we're cool, whatever you want to say. But the reality is we've been around the block for a while. Um, Remember, like, okay, Black Friday was coming up. What happened, Chase? 1 week, maybe 2 weeks before, what happened? You used to open the Sunday newspaper, right? Remember that? And you'd open them
Okay,
and
I'm
they
not
have
as
all
old
those
as you. I'll let you
packets
take
of
this one.
stuff. And they would all talk about what they're doing for Black Friday 2 weeks away. They'd pre-launch it. They'd tell them doorbuster deals here or there. We're going to send you these flyers and you get postcards in the mail. Then the next Sunday you open the next ones and are reinforcing that message. And by the time that Friday comes up, dude, you're ready to make selection. So maybe to your point, it's not even just a pre-launch of getting people on a wait list, but it's a pre-launch of your sale, but not letting people buy on purpose. Would that be crazy?
Yeah, that's interesting. You almost hope, right, that like your competitors follow suit so that people can't go elsewhere if they need it right now. But I don't know. Yeah, it's
I mean,
interesting.
I mean,
It's in,
look,
it's interesting.
nobody's buying direct to consumer products because it's an urgent need right this moment. Like, there's very few products in the direct to consumer
Yeah,
space that fall into that line. Most of them are either everyday consumables, which have nothing to do with Black Friday, which is a majority of direct to consumer stuff like supplements and different things, or you have very nice things like apparel and different things in this, which is a majority. If we look at inbooks, which has been interesting, is that we pulled from the top Shopify brands, and a lot of them are
Hmm.
apparel, specifically women's apparel,
Yes.
which are doing the most revenue on that platform. Which, let's be honest, I know you know your wife wants that dress, but she can wait 2 weeks, and that's it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Hey there, it's Chase, and I hope you're enjoying the pod so far. I want to quickly talk to you about one of our sponsors. And yes, sales tax. I know no one wants to hear this. However, if you are selling online, you're probably spending way too much time, money, and stress on something that needs to be automated. Enter Kintsugi. They're named after the Japanese art of turning broke pottery into something beautiful and resilient. And that's exactly what they do for your tax chaos. Their AI monitors, files, and optimizes your sales tax automatically across all states and jurisdictions. We're talking about saving you some serious time. Their average customer saves 9 hours every single month. That's over 100 hours a year that you're going to get back to focus on actually growing your business. And here's where it gets really good. No longer will you have to have expensive tax professionals that eat into your profits. Kintsugi's AI handles compliance with a 98.3% reduction in errors. That's practically bulletproof accuracy. And they have many one-click integrations with your existing systems. That means the setup is painless, and their white glove support team has your back every step of the way. Sales tax headaches? Consider them eliminated forever. And it's for e-commerce, SaaS, and even agencies. Really, anyone that pays a sales tax needs this, and they need Kintsugi. And we have a very, very special offer for you. So if you mention myself and Jimmy, you'll get 3 months completely free. That's 3 months of automated tax filing.
I thought that was interesting. Other things that were interesting was like, they had, about 6 million stores, and they said about 15,800 entrepreneurs made their first sale on Shopify on Black Friday. So like even making their
Wow.
first sale was still a big deal there. So I
Wow.
thought that was interesting. Some other data points that are on this thing I thought was really interesting was ultimately what we're seeing. Black Friday AOV grew. Yeah, I think we got everything. So yeah, ultimately
Yeah.
more orders, bigger baskets, tighter timing. That's basically what we've learned from this report. We'll link that down. Big thanks to Omnisend for sharing that with us. Now, last thing, Chase, I want to jump into before we kind of let people go off, because I know they're all planning. Hopefully you're planning for Q5, Post-BFCM. We've got a pod that we released last week on Post-BFCM and what you should be doing. And we released a Q5 playbook one just a couple weeks before this. So make sure you're listening to that if you haven't caught up on it and you need some tips. But overall, spending was up 9.1%. But we could also argue that inflationary, the products have increased by a certain percent. So did we see an increase, or did we just see a flat year? I personally think we saw a pretty flat year overall, right? Dollar to dollar, right? It just feels like it's more because everything costs more. The last thing that I thought was really interesting, and I know you love AI, and I want to talk about it for just a second. This comes from Adobe Analytics, right? So what Adobe has, Adobe's got their fingers in everything. Magento, Adobe Analytics, they got all this stuff. They said that AI traffic coming from AI to their website grew by 805% year over year. Okay, that's kind of crazy, but we also agree that AI is freaking accelerated for last year. But here's the data point that I thought was really crazy. 38% of people who came from an AI service, this is coming from Adobe. If you were a shopper who landed on our US retail site from an AI service and you made a purchase, you were 38% more likely to make a purchase if you came from an AI traffic source instead of a non-AI traffic source.
Wow.
That's magnitude. That's a lot.
Wow. Yeah, I'm so curious what next year looks like. Is the trend going to accelerate at the same pace it has, or is it going to level out?
Yeah, my only thought process that I had was now that the way that Google has changed how their search works, because I'm sure you've been on their search, they're AI first search now, right? Like everything you answer, the Gemini is answering for you first before you get into the real links and different things. And I feel like that's been their pivot, and it's working for them, obviously, because they're doing very well. But maybe that was part of it. Maybe people are not clicking on search ads quite as much, and they're ending up clicking on the AI information that it feeds before we even get there.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that AI traffic went 8x essentially to last year, which is crazy, means that people were researching, doing things. I almost feel like this, and you and I both do this all the time. Hey, go research these 5 websites and tell me about these things and tell me back around them, right? I feel like
Yeah.
more people are doing that so they don't even have to run around and go figure out the sale. They might have said, hey, AI, this is what I want to buy. Tell me the 5 websites that have it in stock right now and the price. And it went and researched it, came back with it, and then said, oh, okay, this one's the best deal. Let me just go buy it, because loyalty might not be important when they're price shopping ultimately.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
I think that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, I think it's really interesting. So that was the last real data point that I had. But yeah, ultimately, I think the TLDR to this entire pod and episode today, at least in my mind and how I feel about it, is I think marketers need to figure out what to do next to come up with this next year in a different way. I think that the cycle, we almost went through a cycle, right? We went 2018, 2019, retail was hot. 2020, COVID obviously hit. Things slowed down. Everyone went digital. But remember 2023, retail was actually really hot. I remember the year that was like the post-pandemic year, 2023, retail Black Friday was insane, right?
Yes.
And then it kind of died off. But I will tell you, I was looking at social media, and I was kind of watching, because I'm still curious, because I still remember the good old days of retail when it came to this stuff. I was watching, and some stores are trying different things. Target and Lowe's, they were giving away like different giveaways and baskets and buckets and entry doors, gifts and stuff like that. But really the hype this year of like people going out, like I went out on Black Friday. I went to the mall to go get some stuff or do some things, not because it was Black Friday, but because I just needed to go out and do this stuff. It was dead out there, dude. Traffic was light. I don't know if you even ventured out. I know you never leave your house, but I don't know.
You're correct. Did not leave.
Oh, so you stayed. Was DoorDash a little slower this year?
I don't know. I don't remember that. I wish they had more DoorDash deals. They should have discounted.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense, Chase. Why would I give you a deal when we already know you're going to spend?
Correct. No, they're smart. They're very smart. So no, that was cool.
Yeah. So anyways, big shout out again to Omnisend. I know we're just sending him some love for not only the data, but of course the renewal of the sponsorship here to continue to let us send it here. They had a huge Black Friday. They were up 25% year over year in sending of volume emails, 51% over SMS. I will say one thing. Ritas and I were talking. Ritas is the CEO and founder of Omnisend. We were talking about this one very unique data point. Though email saw huge spikes on BFCM, SMS trailed and caught up, and we're starting to see that people are starting to realize that SMS is not a blast channel for campaigns, but a follow-up channel, and they saw it clearly in their data. Even though they had a 51% year over year, he was explaining to me that this usage timeline expanded, and they didn't seem to be like campaign driven like the email was when it came to Black Friday. So I thought that was really interesting that people are starting to understand how to use SMS a bit better, and that makes my nerdy heart as far as email and retention marketing feel better. Like, hey, people are starting to get it.
That's a great one to end on. I love it.
All right, man. Well, with that being said, guys, this was our BFCM 2025 special report. That's what we'll call this pod. We hope you learned something. We wish you the best of luck for the end as shipping date notifications are ending. And of course, Q5 starts. Again, watch that pod if you haven't watched Q5. And with that being said, if you enjoyed our pod, as always, please like, subscribe, follow, share, do all that fun stuff that we ask you to do. And we've got a bunch of links in below, but the one we're going to push today, because we're going to give you only one CTA today, is if you need inspiration for your New Year's, your Valentine's Day, your Father's Day, your Mother's Day, or just some more inspiration generally, or some Q5 inspiration right now, inbooks.ai is now open. It's completely free to try. And even if you do, we have a launch special going on right now as we just opened the doors at about 50% off what we're selling. Go check it out. Inbooks.ai, link in the show note descriptions, along with everything else on how to get in contact with us, how to connect with us, how to follow us, and do all that yada, yada, yada. With that being said, Chase, that's a wrap, dude. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
All right. See you later.
From the open to the click, they're the masters of the flow. Just watch your list grow and your leads turn to go. Did we retain you so far, or do we have to extend it? If you want results, you know you gotta send it. Yeah, you know you gotta send it. Yeah, you know you gotta send it. Yeah, you know you gotta send it.